Forward inspires transformation through communication of God's Word. We help God's people to become His living Word wherever they are. The mission of Forward stems from the biblical call to make disciples of Jesus Christ. Making disciples of Jesus Christ is creating people for a relationship with God and relationships with other people. It is a call to create a holy community. At the heart of community is communication. You can't have relationships without communication. So we take it that the call to make disciples of Jesus Christ is a call to create people who can hear from God and can speak for God from His Word. Just as in Jesus Christ the Word became flesh, we think it is high time in the Church of Jesus Christ for flesh to become Word. We have to become the embodiment of God's truth in our world. There are a few distinctives that set what we do apart from other ventures in God's kingdom. First, we believe that God transforms the world through people who dare to take Him at His word. Church history and biblical theology time and again point in that singular direction, but we discover that God has not changed the world through eloquence or education. Instead, God has changed the world through people who were desperate enough to rebuild their lives on the sole foundation of His Word. So our program is not just for teachers or church leaders. It is for anyone who would like to become God's living Word in his or her world. The second conviction is that we believe that the Bible calls us to create teachers of teachers. We do not want to erect monuments. Instead, we'd like to create a movement of people who are competent to go back to their own communities and help their own people to hear from God and to speak for God from the Bible. We would like to equip people who can multiply themselves in their own communities. The third conviction is the conviction that we think that the best way to communicate God's eternal truth is to do so in the native language of the people. We don't want to teach in translation. Instead, we'd like to equip national teams to go back to their native communities and to frame the program in such a way that God's eternal truth can be heard in the contemporary language of the people among whom they live. The fourth conviction is the conviction that we think that national programs ought to be supported by the people who are part of those programs. As much as we are called to put our hands to the book, we're also called to open our hands and to share from what God has given to us in support of native communities becoming God's voice in the world. We think that what we do is at the very heart of God's call for His church to make disciples of Jesus Christ. We take that call to be a call to make people who are God's living Word in their communities. We think this is the greatest need in the church today. If you see this need and you'd like to meet it, we'd love for you to become part of what we do.